What is going on? Welcome everybody back to the channel. We got an interesting night tonight. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't done a solo stream in a very long time. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every once in a while, I get this stuff makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It makes me a little nervous being on here by myself because I'll be honest with you. There's a million things I want to talk about. Sometimes it's not healthy to talk about these things on the internet. I'll be honest with you. But tonight the gloves are off. There's a couple things that I need to get off my chest about stuff that has happened recently. And I feel like it's important for me to at least draw a little bit of a line in the sand and be like, hey, look, I'm not okay with this kind of stuff. This is a problem. These are my friends, etc., etc. So real quick, before we get started, I wanted to give a big shout out to my members. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do for me. I want to say hi to Showroom Sabers, Le Kenobi, Mike the Stand Shill Porter, Holocron Jedi, James Kling, Daryl the Derelict, Drunk 3PO, Bill Tackett, Star Wars Politics, Super Nate, Red Tigress, Ghost Rider, Star Wars MCU OG, Matt Vader, Dave Bob, Papa Cotty, Daisy Blossom, Ronnie, Mexican Iron Man, Tony White, Mithron Yeroto, Star Wars Theology, Kagi, Novak CT, Live Long with Force, Ted's Nerd World, Darth Weaven, Scott Westbrook, Jedi Master Stones, JD636, my man, Benjamin Martindale, Maria Espino, The Star Wars Obsession, Darth Maximus, Coffee on Korriban, Matt Rissman, Darth Bayou, and of course, Braden, the man himself that runs my Discord. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's going to be a long night tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of different stuff going on. It's not all just Star Wars. There's some drama. Oh, you babies. I know you love the drama. You want the tea. You want the tea. Look, here's the deal. I was a bystander in a stream the other day where I was watching with one of my good friends, Star Wars Santa. This is somebody who I love dearly, who had a stream going on where there were a couple of things that maybe I think I didn't agree with. I don't know if there's a good way to describe it without just showing you what happened. I know this was brought up in Drunk's stream a little earlier today. But I just wanted to give you a top-down view. This isn't from 10,000 feet. This was me watching this stuff, and let's just listen and see what they have to say. Let's just from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, Alex Jones doesn't get involved with pop culture and doesn't send minions out to try to change how things are talked about, Nikki. I'm sorry, Nikki. There's a lot of stuff. I get where you're going. Sometimes you're right. There's a little bit of rightness in the sense that sometimes there is just a kid going N-word. That sure, it exists. But if you're gonna act like there aren't think tanks that are actually giving super chat money to get ideas into like YouTube spaces, I'm sorry, but that's just not true. I think you know some of them. I think your friends
obsession.
Now, Santa immediately tries to obviously guide the conversation in a different direction, which is a really good idea because in my mind, the most important thing when you're here on YouTube and you're talking to people, you got an audience listening to you, you really have to kind of pick your battles or at least read the room in terms of what's going on. Now, when this was happening on Star Wars Santa's stream. Now, mind you, this was not anybody else's stream. It was Santa's stream. We had somebody trying to inject their own idea of what their politics should be while being a guest on somebody else's show. Now, for me personally, and I could be crazy here, I feel like it's very important to be respectful of who you're streaming with. I think that's the most important thing. Now, whatever Santa's politics are, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what Jason's politics are. I don't know what Star Wars Meg's politics are. But for me, I wasn't happy about it. And to be honest with you, I just kind of have to call it out as kind of shitty, to be honest with you, because Nikki is somebody who's been a part of my channel for a long time. She's a good friend. I know her friends. I'm friends with some of her friends. And to have somebody say something like that on somebody else's stream, it's just kind of shitty. I'll be honest with you. And it kind of pissed me off. Especially because when you say, hey, I think you know some of those people, your friends are racist, I think you know them. It's just, it's a little off-putting, and I have to be honest with you. Like I said in Drunk Stream, he said, hey, look, I don't think Santa's good people. I think Santa is good people. I think, unfortunately, there was somebody who took advantage of the situation in his stream and tried to use it as a platform to, you know, say whatever they believe, and that's fine. But I say, take your secret business in your own room. You know what I mean? So just be respectful of the people that you stream with. Be smart about it. I don't think that was a good take. I think it was kind of a shit take. And look, I have to stand up for the people that I've met and that I know personally from folks in Geeks and Gamers. I know 3PO himself, who has been a good friend of mine and a proponent for my channel. He's an awesome dude. I have seen that guy do so much for people around him and ask nothing in return. So to say something like that about somebody who's done nothing to you, that's kind of shitty. And then beyond that, you know, trying to call somebody out on something that's not substantiated, Jason, I don't know if you want somebody else to do that to you too. So I'm going to close the book on that. That's the end of it for the night. We have some Star Wars to talk about. So I think we should talk some Star Wars. This is, after all, the state of Star Wars. So let's take a little look. I know my buddy Jay was talking about Star Cruiser, so we're going to get to that. But more importantly, I want to talk about movies with Star Wars. What do we have coming soon? Does anybody in the chat know what we actually have coming for Star Wars? I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to take a sip of tea. If we're talking about the state of Star Wars, what am I supposed to think as a fan of Star Wars? What do we have coming to the big screen? Anybody know? Educate me, chat. And I apologize. I actually feel really bad. I haven't even said what's up to the chat. Hello, chat. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm sorry I had to get that off my chest. I had to speak my truth for a minute. I had to speak my truth. I see everybody's here. Everybody's here. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Oh my God, look at all these people here. Hello. 41. 42 people came here to see me speak tonight. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Peter Griffin's even here. What's up, dude? So yeah, the question was, can we say what's going on with Star Wars movies? Have they announced any movies? Yeah, they do. So that's kind of my problem, and something I'm trying to get at is that they're saying, hey, we've got 6 movies lined up. By the way, it changes in a week, and we have no idea. We've shelved 4. It reminds me a lot of the post Lucasfilm Games era, where we would have, 6 different Star Wars games that were slated to be released. I don't know if anybody remembers the mall game that was supposed to come out. That shit looked amazing, and it died. It just died. Everything dies right now in the announcement era of Disney Lucasfilm. We get movies that should come out, they're dead. We get a game announcement for this Eclipse game that's supposed to come out. When is it supposed to come out? I don't know, like 2026, 2027. Oh, by the way, it's dead. Quantic Dream's not doing it. Oh, no, they got bought again. Oh, wait, no, it's going to be some other company that's going to take over. It's very difficult to navigate. And this is the hardest part for me, is as a Star Wars YouTuber, it's extremely difficult to try to navigate what's happening in Star Wars right now. We have no idea. There were several movies I was very excited about, or at least the prospect of several movies I was very excited about. One of them, the key one, being Rogue Squadron. My channel name is X-Wing. I thought the idea of a Top Gun style movie for a Star Wars pilot to basically be a Maverick, I was extremely excited about that. And then the news comes out. What's going on? Oh, Patty Jenkins wants to do Wonder Woman 3. Now, I don't know if you guys saw Wonder Woman 2, but if you could just in your mind make an idea of what you would prefer, Wonder Woman 3, Rogue Squadron. X-Wings and TIE Fighters fighting or Wonder Woman? Which one would you pick? Maybe I'm out of my mind, and maybe I shouldn't be the guy that's doing the State of Star Wars address, but movies have not been Lucasfilm's strong suit. We got Solo, that was an unmitigated failure. As much as it tries to get buried by people, it was a failure. It was a failure to a lot of fans. It was a failure at the box office. And then we have Rogue One, which to me was a massive success, at least from a fan's perspective. I really enjoyed what they did with Rogue One. Some people will say it's still Disney, it's shit, and I don't like it. That's fine. I give you full rights to hate that movie, but I really enjoyed it. And so imagine my excitement when Andor was coming out. But regardless, when it comes to movies, the only other thing that we've really gotten is a little bit of entertainment of the idea that, well, maybe we'll make another movie, but it's going to be with sequel characters. That's the only confirmed evidence that we have about another movie coming out. And I have to ask myself, if you're ahead at Lucasfilm, you're sitting at the table, you're talking to the board, and you're wondering, what are we going to do for another movie? And I'll bring up this article, and I think it's a telltale. It tells you everything that you need to know about what's going on at Lucasfilm right now. Okay. So I'm sure everybody saw this, but Lucasfilm is focused on getting the next Star Wars film right. Now, anybody who is a Star Wars fan sees that and they're like, hell yeah, thank God. And that in and of itself is you're admitting that you effed up the last ones. Anyways, I'll try to stop complaining. I'm sorry, chat. I promise I'm going to start interacting with you in here. It baffles the mind. It baffles the mind. So Lucasfilm is focused on getting the next Star Wars film right. I don't know why you didn't focus on the last ones, but Puck Industry insider Matthew Baloney, and I am not making up that name, you can see it right there on the screen, reported that Lucasfilm's grueling development time for the next Star Wars film is the result of a culture of fear and indecision. Now, just mull that over in your brain for a minute. It's a culture of fear and indecision. Lucasfilm's internal mantra for new movies is getting it right. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been around on YouTube for a while. You've heard multiple different YouTubers say, hey, look, there's kind of a culture war going on at Star Wars. This is very important to me. I think there's a culture war going on. And a lot of people will say, that's not true. That's not there's no culture war. The sequels are widely accepted, and you're just a grifter. I, sir, push strongly back against that statement. Lucasfilm's internal mantra for new movies is getting it right. What does that mean for the last ones? That should spell it out for you. Now, the company internally acknowledges that the sequels were rushed to meet aggressive release dates. Now, I don't think anybody would disagree that that's exactly what happened. Of course, they had to meet aggressive release dates, but that's something that George Lucas also had to deal with. I mean, if you look back at any of the interviews where George Lucas is talking about getting his movies out, it's the same thing. He was rushed to meet these. The guy had a freaking heart attack on set because he was trying to get his movies out. And what happened with those movies? Well, they were blockbuster successes, have been since 1977, and yet he got the job done. So for me, this is a little bit of a tough article to read because, yeah, that's what happens in Hollywood. It is grueling. It's a shitty business, but good storytellers provide the product. Bottom line. Anyway, so the resulting trilogy was something Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy elected to play safe. And this is in bold here. Choosing fan service and franchise management over creative swings. Now, I'm very interested to hear what you guys think in the chat when you read that. This was choosing fan service and franchise management over creative swings. I think this is really interesting because of the first part of this phrase, choosing fan service. there's something that doesn't really sit well with me with the first part of that quote. Choosing fan service. What fans? Which fans? Because when I look back at the sequel trilogy and I look back with all of the conversations that I've had with Star Wars fans over the past God knows how many years, and we talk about the sequel trilogy, what are people mad about? The Last Jedi definitely comes up usually first in the argument, right? People are pissed about The Last Jedi. Why? Mostly because of the treatment of Luke Skywalker in it. So I don't know if you guys have ever had the chance. There's a YouTuber out there who did it was a video called, I think it was called the Anti Trilogy. And excuse me if I'm getting that wrong. I would recommend that you sit down and you watch this video called the Anti Trilogy, because the sequel trilogy itself was literally, it was a hate letter to the prequels. So basically, JJ said, I hate the prequels. Everybody else hates the prequels. Let's do away with everything that we can do with the prequels, which for me, right off the bat, like, go F yourself. I don't want any part of it if you just completely get rid of the prequel trilogy. That was my Star Wars growing up. But B, it's anti, and this is going to come across wrong to a couple people. I'm just say swallow it and just deal with it for a minute. It's anti Star Wars in a way. Okay. There's a lot that goes into that, but what, he's so needy, bro. He gets a membership over here and he's like, no, I want to run the stream. I told, just give me a second and then I'm going to get to the chat. Just give me a second. I'm ranting. I never get to do these solo streams. I'm always listening to your guys' shitty opinions. I gotta get this out myself. So, anyways, all right. Regardless, moving forward, the article goes on to say a contributing factor in Lucasfilm's slow-moving development process is Kennedy's recognition that the next installment needs to actually be good. Anybody catch that? What do you want me to say to that, Lucasfilm? After everything that happened on social media, after everything that happened with your directors shitting on your fans, with all the twatter backlash that went down, with the division that you've now created between Star Wars, and there's always been division, don't get me wrong, but with the true division that you created with the sequel trilogy, where you have longtime fans of the franchise now batting up against these young kids who are like, F you, it's progress. And we're saying, no, it's wrong. You come out and you say the next installment needs to actually be good. Baby girl, you laid yourself on the guillotine with that statement. It's just for us. I just saw a comment from my buddy Andy. What the fuck is that? This is why I don't read chat. We're going to get to chat in a second. So for me as a Star Wars fan, this is the state of Star Wars. How am I supposed to feel as a Star Wars fan? When I tell you this room is filled with thousands of dollars of Star Wars collectibles. I run a Star Wars channel. How am I supposed to feel reading some shit like that? Well, the next one needs to actually be good. How much you buy that for? 4 million? No, it was 4 billion. That's right. Oh, shit. So I guess the state of Star Wars to me right now is I'm not in a good place. I'm not happy. There are certain things where I feel like there's just a whiff of a fart of something good going on. So like Andor was a whiff of a fart. Like we're headed in the right direction, right? This is something that's good. I think Mando 2, again, just a whiff. I'm like, all right, we're doing something that works. And then you have the Galactic Star Cruiser, which is just like this giant umbrella. The Galactic Star Cruiser and Galaxy's Edge, which I had the displeasure of visiting. When was that? I don't know. It was a month ago or 2 months ago. I'd like to think that Star Wars is making a turn for the better. But then I went to Galaxy's Edge and I saw the real state of Star Wars. And it wasn't good. And then when we finally get some concrete news about the next Star Wars movie that's coming out, it's sequel characters. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Family Guy. I think it was Blue Harvest, basically, when Lois is like, all right, we have a million ways that we can possibly flee Hoth, but we're going to go right at the Star Destroyers. And the guy's like, is there somebody from the military maybe we can talk to? Maybe. it's they picked the one direction nobody wanted them to go. And I say nobody, of course, obviously there are people who want to see sequel characters, and that's fine. That's great. But you just had your 12 hours of sequel content. So get the fuck out of here. I want to see something else. And I just think it's so interesting going back to this article and hearing Kathleen Kennedy say, hey, look, we have a culture of fear and indecision. We want to get it right. And the last thing that we didn't work. We chose fan service and franchise management over creative swings. So explain to me exactly how you can say all those things and then contradict yourself immediately and say, all right, this is what we need to go back to. We need to go to the smallest fan base that we have, which is the sequel trilogy fan base. We need to fan serve that fan base and not do anything new or creative. Somebody want to explain that in the chat? Do you know if, like, am I just nuts? Kathleen Kennedy's at board meetings just like,
you must contradict yourself.
I don't know. It's frustrating. I apologize for the beep in the chat, everybody. Okay, I'm ready. I got done with my rant. I just can't seem to grasp exactly what it is that they're doing over there at Lucasfilm where they think this is going to work. As a Star Wars collector, I have walked the shelves of the big box stores and seen what is on sale, and guess what? It's not Luke. He's already gone. That peg is empty. But I tell you what, they got Holdo on sale for 75%. Or buy one, get one 50% off. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I'm drinking a dry martini tonight. He really is a grifter. Doesn't even matter if it's Star Wars. Doesn't matter what it is. He's just a grifter. Just a grifter. Okay. I've gotten my... I had to get that off my chest. X-Wing was a little pissed off boy here before 8 o'clock. But you've gotten 25 minutes of me just being mad, man. Just mad. And the worst part is, man, you get on Twitter and you start looking at the shit that people are saying on Twitter. It's rough, dude. It's really rough. So what's the state of Star Wars? It's not good, bro. It's not good. And being a YouTuber who talks about nothing but Star Wars, what do you want me to do, man? Riva, man, were you guys around for the HasLab Riva? I made a video on that. You want to talk about not understanding your audience? They did a HasLab for Riva's Saber. I think it met 6% of its goal. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that video. That was probably my funniest video. I really liked that one. I think I missed a super chat. Gotta grab a super chat. Hold on here. Somebody actually super chatted me. Star Wars Mansplained for $4.99. They can't get it right if it's sequel trilogy. Dude, honestly, and this is always a tough conversation you kind of have to have with yourself, is like, can you enjoy a Star Wars movie if it has the characters from the sequel trilogy? Can you? Honestly, ask yourself. Can you enjoy if it's a perfectly written story, the music is great, the action scenes are perfect, everything about it screams Star Wars and it hits it perfectly. Can you enjoy it if there are sequel trilogy characters involved? What do you think?
Thank you.
Every time you donate on this channel, a youngling loses their life. So thank you so much for that, mansplain. Luke Skywalker says, nah, can't do it. Murray says, nope, can't do it. John Graber says, yes, can. Donna says, no. Ted says, no. Only if they're dying brutally. Dude, chat. Jeez. You guys are rough. Cody says, no way. Also, look into the people making this. They're complete hack activists. This will be worse than the sequels. I guarantee it. What do you guys think? Can they make a movie worse than what they did with the sequels? I got to tell you, Last Jedi was actually not as bad as Rise of Skywalker was. In terms of a movie, shit that pissed me off, I definitely have to say that Last Jedi was the one that really made me mad. But in terms of a bad movie, Rise of Skywalker was awful. Awful. It was horrible. I mean, I've played $5 video games that had better storylines than that. Drunk 3PO with a $4.99. Thank you. Sell your Star Wars stuff and rebrand to talking about potatoes. Potatoes are interesting, man. There's more to talk about with potatoes right now than there is about Star Wars. I'm going to be honest with you. That's actually maybe not a bad idea. Potato wing. Okay. All right. I'm done with the shenanigans. I'd like to make this the state of Star Wars is done. I'm done yelling. I don't know if my two I still have two friends that would like to come on and talk. I don't know if you guys are still interested. They got really mad at me. I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to stream tonight?" And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, fuck it, we're doing it live. I'm doing it by myself. I don't solo stream enough. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to try to tackle this. And then I ran out of shit to say. Honestly, I've got like a 25-minute fuse. And then once I'm blown out of that 25-minute fuse, I just want somebody else to argue with me. So I need either a controversial statement in the chat for me to get mad about, which I don't think anybody here can do. Everybody seems in agreement, which is never fun. Like, give me something to argue about. You know what I mean? Ugh. Rise was bad because the chopped up Colin Trevorrow script and sewed it back together to create a Franken script. Yeah, there was the Duel of the Fates Colin Trevorrow script, which I thought was actually got that from the person I yelled about today. So sorry about that, but oh, look, we have a guest. What's up, dude?
Are you done? Did you get it off your chest?
No, I don't know. Maybe I got it all off my chest. I'm not sure if I did. There's just the state of Star Wars in my mind is not good. And there are people who disagree and be like, hey, look, Andor is great. Okay, you got Mando. You should be happy. I'm not happy. I've done my best to put on a brave face and say, look, here's the deal. They're making the right turn. They're taking a turn for the better. I think we're finally starting to see content that we want to see. But the bottom line is there has been so much abuse in the past that it becomes very difficult for me to justify giving them a pat on the back. You know what I mean?
Well, and the quality, the production quality on Andor is good, right? But it's not a fun watch, right?
Please tell me this isn't true.
So I don't hate it. I do hate a Navi River Journey is a trash ride, right? But I don't hate.
What the fuck? I know I didn't just hear that on my stream. Hell no.
That's what he's referring to because I put it in the chat earlier. You know, my opinion on that ride, right?
that. Watch your damn mouth coming up.
But on your point about what Andor has or hasn't done for the franchise, right? It certainly hasn't united the fandom into a bunch of, happy-go-lucky, kumbaya-ing Star Wars fans saying...
It's divided it more than it has united it, which I thought was very interesting. But it's not a black and white division when it comes to that show. Also, I wanted to... Was this a direct quote from Matt Risman? Solo is a much better Star Wars movie than The Phantom Menace?
I think he's paraphrasing what I said, right?
I don't know if that's paraphrasing, dude.
Maybe it's a direct quote then. I said that I enjoyed Solo more than The Phantom Menace, and that I've rewatched Solo many more times than The Phantom Menace, and I will stand by that because it's true.
I did ask for somebody to get like a shitty opinion out there so I could argue with it. So.
Yeah, and here I come again with the Solo, right? Bringing the Solo.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's perfect. Perfect. Donna, you were already a member. Didn't I give you a holler out? Literally at the entrance of the show, but we have to replay it anyways. You know what I need is what does Jay have? He's got Rose Tico.
Yeah, I like that Rose. That Rose Tico is my favorite.
I need something like that. But... Oh, I remember what the re-up is. Hold on, let me find it. Let me find it.
Is that so? Then how about
It's a fucking great movie. That was the re-edit. I don't know if you saw
I do love that clip. Right? I love
Jay doesn't want you on here, dude.
I know. I've made him mad.
Shit.
But listen, in regards to the viability of the franchise, right, and whether or not is it dead, is it alive, is it on life support, right? We were just on 3 hours of EBN, right? Very interactive chat, talking about all kinds of different things, right, related to Star Wars, and that was a lot of fun, right? So.
I didn't show you what a large YouTuber said about Star Wars, did I?
I'm afraid to know.
Okay, no, that's fine. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull this clip up. I feel like you should see this because I didn't actually know this about Star Wars YouTube, but I found out today, and I actually got a live reaction from this information. Do you want to see this?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, I'll be sorry.
This is not for the faint of heart, okay? All right, check this out. This is
those Star Wars channels that I showed earlier on and the other, like, their live streams get like no viewership. Like, no offense, like, when people talk Star Wars stuff, it's like nobody cares anymore.
There's Nikki.
Hi, guys.
Did you hear that?
I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. I was texting someone. What was the video?
I love that every time we bring Nikki on, she adds so much to the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the most important part. She adds so much to what we have going on here.
Yeah. Am I gonna get filled in or not? I wasn't lying. I don't know what we're talking about.
Why don't you tell me what the state of Star Wars is?
Again? How many times I gotta say it's crap, but it's not crap, but yes, it's crap. Does that answer your question?
That was really in depth. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, no, because nothing new has made anyone excited. So, except for Matt.
That's not true. People are excited about Andor.
That's why I said except for Matt.
I'm not the only one.
Mando 3 is going to be the one thing that people start talking about, but then I have a feeling they'll fuck that up too.
You think Gina's going to come back?
No.
No?
Why are you asking me that question? Yeah, goodbye. I'll get out of here. The hell are you doing here anyways?
So the issue I have with Mando 3, right, is they're changing that formula, right? We seem to have had a pretty successful Mandalorian formula seasons 1 and 2, right? Mando's on adventures. right? Got to get Grogu back to the Jedi. Got things to do.
Well, you said something important about making different like content for different people. I mean, so far, who has Kenobi been for, and who has Book of Boba been for?
I'm gonna say something controversial. Controversial.
Mhm.
Shut the
Excuse
fuck.
me. Easy for you to say.
That was made for. That was. No, I'm gonna get in trouble. I really got to watch my mouth. Kenobi was trash.
Yes.
Bottom line, I mean, top to bottom, that show was absolutely horrible. The only thing good about that show was that we got John Williams back for a piece, and I don't think it was his best piece, but it was John Williams.
I guess. Why not them like they bring back Kevin Kiner for any of these live action shows either? I don't know. It's weird.
He did Tales of the Jedi good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
AD's saying that Andor's suffering the Solo experience.
That's what I've said.
Dude, I don't think the
He copied
Solo
me.
experience was real.
What does that even mean?
Remember the big excuse was that Solo didn't do well because people were pissed off about the sequel trilogy.
No, people were pissed off. It was like right on the heels of
They
the
called it
Last
Star
Jedi.
Wars- They called it Star Wars fatigue. That's what they called it. I don't know if you remember that whole thing. Star Wars fatigue. That's the
For
reason that Solo
Solo?
didn't do well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they said Solo didn't do well. And I said bullshit. There's no such thing as Star Wars fatigue until Andor came out. And I said there is definitely such a thing as Star Wars fatigue because this is bullshit.
It was the Last Jedi that ruined Solo. Because Solo wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't like
Do you
horrible.
like Solo?
It was whatever. We don't need it.
I fucking hate
That was
movie.
the first movie that made me hate a droid. Do you know how hard that is to like hate a droid in Star Wars?
The L3 part of Solo was tough. I agree. It's tough.
It was bad, dude.
You just don't like Solo because you can't get over the way he got his last name. That's why you hate Solo so much.
That was pretty bad.
There is so much that I hate about that movie.
That was pretty bad.
There is so much that I hate about Solo. You know what I should do? I should sit down. I know I'm
You
way
should
too
do
late.
it.
I'm a couple years late, but I'm gonna sit down and make a video about why Solo sucked ass. We can talk about that, but you know we're at a point now where we're post sequels. A lot of people. Do you remember the big conversation about how the sequels are going to get retconned? And there was the culture war, and oh my god, the sequels are going to get retconned, and Disney's getting rid of it, and blah blah blah, and all these different things. And then we get 6 different ideas about the movies that we're going to get. None of them come to fruition. And then the one piece of concrete evidence that we have for a new Star Wars movie is fucking sequels related.
Well,
How good is the pot down at the ranch? That's my question. Like, how good is the pot? Because they went full. They're like, we got to do something else. We need to make something better. We got to do something else. We got to make fans happy. You know what? Let's just go right back to the sequels. Why not?
don't worry, X-Wing. Don't worry. Grogu will be in it too. You're saved, right? It's gonna be sequel characters and Grogu.
The
Top.
worst decision you could possibly fucking make for Star Wars, and they're doing it. Why?
I think the worst decision would be to bring back Rey. No offense to Rey fans, but like I said, she's Brie Larson light. Also, Daisy Ridley. So no, nobody wants to deal with a freaking bitchy white female. You know. So yeah.
I don't want to talk about Kenobi ever again.
It was like a fever dream. Like you can't believe that Hayden and Ewan were there, but it doesn't. It's just so weird.
That was
What a weird experience, honestly.
I'm lucky I had somebody to go through it with, right? That's the bottom line. Because if I never started my YouTube and I never had anybody else to talk to, like if I didn't have this outlet and all these people to talk to, I would have dumped Star Wars after Kenobi. Like I'm not ever fucking listening to anything you guys ever have to say again. You brought Ewan and Hayden back, and that's how you treated them? What the fuck?
I know. To end it how Revenge ended, basically.
Oh, that's so bad. That merchandise is horrible.
Uh,
And they
It
made
looks
a
like Freemasons.
Snuggie now. Did you all see they made a Life Day Snuggie? So that's it's the whole, it's literally, you know, the Snuggie with the blanket with the arms through it, and now they have that this it's out now. I think
That's all Chewie's robe was anyway. It was just a freaking snuggie.
So
Yeah.
bad.
Life Day. What other characters can they use from the sequel trilogy? What other characters are there? I mean, can you think? The only thing I could think would be passable would be like a Poe Dameron movie or something, as like a Top Gun kind of Poe Dameron movie, maybe. Other than that, like, what do you want to see? Do you want to see? Do you want to see Finn as a sanitation agent? Do you want to see what's her name, Rose Tico, doing whatever the fuck it was she did?
The only character with any charisma is Poe, and they're not going to bring back
That's what
Oscar
I'm
Isaac.
saying. Yeah, and Oscar's, by all accounts, seem to be just absolutely done with this shit. That movie made me hate Benicio del Toro.
I know, right?
How do you do that?
I forget that he was in it.
How do you hate Benicio del Toro? I hated it.
It's a mental block. And the stutter, he had that stutter. Not only was he in it, but he had that stutter. I'm like, how?
I just hate it, dude. I hate it. Shut the fuck up.
Here we go.
What do you think we're doing?
Yeah. I don't know.
Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, I like this.
Oh no, justice for Wade.
Have we heard anything? Is there supposed to be a comic that I didn't read that says something about Wade? Do we know who Wade is?
Not that I know of.
It's just a fucking meme. That's all he is. No one cares about Wade.
He's a Tim wannabe.
Oh my God, this guy.
I just don't get it. Ooh, a PBA movie? Wouldn't you be excited about that?
I'm gonna shut up because it's money.
You're such a simp, Cappy. Yo, X-Wing.
And a
Just wanted to
stalker.
show some support. Been silently watching and all.
No, he
Good
hasn't.
contention. Keep it up. P.S. Even the salty parts are good on your channel. Well, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much for being there. I'll play
Liar.
Fortnite with you soon. Promise.
Liar.
He doesn't actually like me.
He's a piece of crap. But thanks for the money.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Salty. BGN for 20. What is BGN? Does anybody know?
Bulgarian fake money.
It's Bulgarian. Yeah.
You're not very nice.
No.
Maybe that 20 is like $400. I mean,
It's a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Cappy. That's
And-
good
and-
to see you.
and
Anyways.
I gotta say, for a common idiot who's really simping on the Babu
Is
Frick.
Common in here?
Don't worry. Your time is coming with Babu Frick. Hold that thought.
Oh,
Hold that
God.
thought. Babu Frick is
Well, he's coming in
All-
Mando.
He's in Mando
all
3,
his
baby.
friends too. His family is going to be there. The whole 9 yards. Sure.
With the Force.
I needed that live. I sent you an invite, man. I'm just saying. Please don't gender my
I'm a they.
yeah. Please don't gender the people on my stream.
Common idiots think he was just joking. Sorry, it's coming. Oh, yes.
Well, because I mean, putting him in Mando 3 is like the only sequel tie they can do without triggering people.
What a
'Cause, like,
fucking cheap shot.
it's the truth.
That's so dumb. You know why? It's because they have those little Babu Fricks at Disney World now.
Well, I mean, Grogu needs Babu, right? There's this again. There's a rationale behind it, right? Why they need to take the story there, I don't understand, but
Yeah.
they have a rationale.
That's Nikki.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So bad.
Dude, Quill was great. So that's one of those like
He was. I
he was
actually cried
annoying as
when he
shit.
died.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like he was annoying as shit. But you want to talk about like a good side character? He was perfect.
How was he annoying?
I have spoken. Maybe I think I just hate
Cool.
Nick Nolte. I'll be honest with you. Like Nick Nolte fucking drives me nuts. That's just a personal opinion. I'm just saying. Big ups to the legendary Tron, my brother. Hope you're having a good night. I need a beverage. I'm gonna leave you guys with a question.
Uh-oh.
If you could make one Star Wars movie and have it come out next Monday, what would it be?
Next Monday, it would be a piece of shit because there'd be no time to fucking make a movie. What the fuck kind of question was that?
You've never heard of a fucking hypothetical?
I know. Go do your thing. Fucking this guy can't help himself.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
So I think for me, it would be a movie that's probably, it would be between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Oh, do Heir of the Empire, like
Yeah,
word
I
for
mean,
word. That's
there-
it. That's what I would.
There
do.
is good material out there, right? But I think there are unexplored stories we can tell in this time frame that they've been dancing around, right? Whether they've been,
Yeah.
and
Heir to the Empire, you can't lose with that trilogy. That's my honest opinion. So if you want to kind of like retcon what people like wash their palate from the sequels, just do that and fucking forget the sequels ever existed. That's my opinion. Or go Old Republic, but only if it's gonna be straight like book to screen. Can't emphasize.
yeah, I mean,
that
I
enough.
think the other thing is you go either way back or way forward, right? But you do it in such a way, again, that has a new character slate, right? That where they're not trouncing on other characters, or they're not continuing to explore sequel characters. It's either way back when or way in the future, and what's next, and what's happened, and how did we get there, and what's going on from an overall adventure standpoint.
Or do the Rogue Squadron thing. One of those two. Stay away from. If you want to stay away from legacy characters, just do something that has to do with pilots, because that was also very popular in the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Dude, ABC and oh my god, what was the name of that? They mentioned him in Kenobi, and I'm trying to remember. Corran Horn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Corran Horn, the X-wing pilot. Yeah, like dude, do something like that. You want to
Force
talk
sensitive
about,
pilot.
Yeah, not pissing off people and bringing people in. I can't imagine a Star Wars movie that has a bunch of fucking space battles and a personal story that's going to piss anybody off.
Well, then you got that action, right? You've got
Yeah.
there's a the best thing about that is there's an inherent camaraderie in those kinds of stories, right? Which invests you in the characters.
Yep.
Right? Because you're there with them, and you have to have that investment for the story to make sense, where it doesn't feel like a bunch of disconnected characters that they're trying to bring, you know what I mean? That they're trying to make, a story around.
I mean, essentially EU stories, yeah. But then Justin brings up a good point. Dude, bottom line is, which one are they going to mess up next?
That's why I said it's a hypothetical. There's
Yeah.
no way I would want them touching.
And KOTOR's tough. KOTOR's tough because it's a choose your own story, right? So that's never going to work in live action because you're going to piss people off and they'd be like, I wouldn't do that. I still think you could navigate it if you weren't fucking stupid about it. Excuse my French. I'm very fresh tonight. I have a lot of F words coming out. I can't help myself. I'm honestly, I mean, baseline, I'm frustrated right now. Andor's just not doing what it needs to for me.
It's boring.
It's a good look. It's a good show, and I'll keep saying that, and people are gonna be like, "Ambor, fuck you. You're a Disney show, whatever." Like, fine, say that about me. I don't care. I'm enjoying the show. I'm just a little bored. I think it needs a little bit of pep.
It just needs more Luthen.
Yeah, that would help.
More Luthen, less Andor, and we're good to go.
Who would you cast as Darth Bane?
Ooh.
Don't people always fan cast Keanu or Christian Bale? Those are always like the two people that people.
No, I would
up.
do what's his name? The guy who played Bane, Hardy,
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
He'd be great, Bane.
I hated his fucking voice as Bane. That shit was so horrible. He sounded like a freaking teddy bear.
Oh, my name is Bane.
It was so bad.
Andy, I'm Swiss. You fuck. But my last name is French, actually, so you're not wrong. So this is something that a lot of people have brought up. Just go 10,000 years out from the sequels, right? But here's the problem, and this is something that I will argue consistently, is that you'll go 10,000 out from the sequels, it won't feel comfortable to a lot of fans. It won't feel like that universe that they're used to. You know what I mean? And they come up with all this new shit, and people are going to say it doesn't feel like Star Wars. Bottom line.
Well, they don't have to worry about fan service then, because one of the main complaints about Andor, again, if you're going to do something within a specific timeline, you have to bring some sort of fan service to connect it. And Andor just kind of feels a little disconnected from what it's supposed to be leading into, which is the OT. Like Rogue One did it good, but
Levin wants to see the Yuuzhan Vong War.
I mean, we're going to get that eventually, just with a different name.
Grisk. Yeah. Yuuzhan
It's
Vong,
gonna
dude,
be-
that was
it'll
kind
be
of
dumb.
a lot of
It'll
people
be
hate
dumb.
the Yuuzhan Vong stuff.
It'll be dumb.
They're going to dumb it down, right? I mean, because again, they can't. It's just too much, right? They're having a real hard time striking that balance between too comedic and too cerebral, right? They just have a really hard time finding the middle ground, and I think that's why The Mandalorian has worked so well, because they fill in the gap with the fun, with the pulp part of it, with the fun, right? With the adventure, and then people are like, okay, I'm into this, right? Otherwise, they're just struggling.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, like, you look at, telling an original story or wherever the case may be, like Darth Xana. You ask any casual Star Wars fan, who's Darth Xana? They're going to be like, what the fuck is that? Xana? Like, I don't know what that is. Sounds like Xanax. But you could make an amazing movie with Darth Xana, right? That's the apprentice to Darth Bane. It could start with the end of Darth Bane. There's so much shit that you can do. And it's literally already fucking written for you. I mean, it is written for you. What scares me, and I think the reason why I don't want them to touch anything that has to do with the Old Republic, is look what happened with like one of my favorite trilogy of books out there was Aragon. Okay, it was about a dragon rider. They made a movie about that book, and it was inexcusably horrible.
That was a bad movie.
It was horrible. And I'm like, dude, you did so much injustice to that story. Christopher Paolini is rolling around in his not yet dug grave. Like, it was awful. And so when I think about the depth and everything that the book is always better than the movie, right? You put that into Star Wars, and then you have people who've been reading these things for years and years and years and years, like myself, and then you put that into a movie and you F it up, they're never going to touch it again. So,
Well, and then also, again, you have to, or they should be thinking about, how do we attract new entrants into the franchise, right? How do we create new fans, right? While striking that balance with the fans that have been invested all this time, having something that they also enjoy. And that's another thing that they've really been struggling with.
I just think they need to stay away from the Force for a while until they get someone that understands it a little bit better. But
Andy thinks Daisy should play Darth Xana.
I will send you to Jesus.
on that note, I have to take off. But
okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me on. Take care.
Of course.
See you, Nikki.
You're always welcome.
Okay, bye.
Hi.
I think she got an assassination contract with the Chancla. It was like, I got to roll right now.
You think that's what it was?
I gotta take care of this. Disney has no choice but to keep it in the Skywalker timeline. When stuff goes bad, they just drop a character we all know to help the series. That is ungodly true, because I don't know if you remember, there was the interview with Kathleen Kennedy. I think it was Kathleen that was like, we have to move away from the Skywalkers. Like, we're done. We're done with the Skywalkers. We're not touching it anymore. It's time to move on. And then Book of Boba comes out, and or Mando came out, and then Book of Boba came out, and it's just like Luke as the big surprise. And it's like, so what did you mean by time to move on? Because you clearly haven't.
Well, and it's, I know I sound like a broken record, right? But you have to have the right mix of connectivity, right? Through what folks have invested themselves in with this franchise. And again, as much as I'm loving Andor for the Imperial part of it, right? And as much as I like the production quality, they haven't done a great job with the connectivity from characters that folks recognize.
Right. Or give a shit about.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the ones that you do recognize are arguably not your A-list players.
Right.
At least not up to this point, right? Now, if in true Disney fashion for these series, now that we're down the last 3 episodes, if all of a sudden here comes the greatest hits, right? Of things that all of a sudden make it, oh, here we go.
Well, so here's and look here, we're gonna prove a big YouTuber wrong. Okay. All right. I don't know if Drunk is still here, but people still do give a shit about Star Wars. Okay. They still watch these live streams talking about Star Wars. I think it's very interesting, very, very interesting that in Bad Batch, we got Mount Tantus. Now, to anybody who doesn't know what Mount Tantus is, this is something that came from an old book series that was essentially the sequel to the original trilogy. Okay, we got Luke that went on a grand adventure. There was cloning that happened, right? And then Luke essentially fights a clone of himself, Luke, in this place. Isn't it interesting that they're going to add that in to the end of Bad Batch? Are they just going to never bring that up again?
Well, I think they're the question is, are they never in my opinion are they never going to bring it
Join
up
the stream.
again? Right. The question I think is, are they only going to bring it up again in Bad Batch season 2? Right. There is up to this point, there's been a reluctance, right, to significantly connect some of these animated storylines into the live action stuff. Right now, maybe Ahsoka is going to be.
This is where Filoni starts to trip over his own dick. Okay, yeah. Because he's more than happy to retcon his own book. He's more than happy to retcon his own shit when it comes to the animated stuff. How does that play into live action? Because now he's got a big hand resting on his shoulder when it comes to the Ahsoka show. How is he going to fuck that up?
And when they connect whatever they're going to connect to Ahsoka, right? Whether it be Rebels or whether it be parts of Bad Batch or whatever, will it appear consistent, right? Which I think is what you were just saying, right? Or will it not appear consistent, but it'll be like, well, it's a part of the broader story, and I just reinterpreted this. He has his way of saying, yeah, I did it on purpose, deal with it. Right, which is exactly what he just said about the whole Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi versus what went on in the novel. He gave out a week. Well, it was my outline. They took the novel in one direction. I took Tales of the Jedi in a different direction. It's the same story. It all comes from the same outline. And I'm like, but you made that choice, right? You could have expounded more closely on Ahsoka's story and made it consistent with the novel. You chose not to, right? And that's where I'm like, on your point about Mount Tantus, it comes across as a tease because we get it at the end. They don't give us the second season. They delay it. It doesn't connect to anything in live action, and you're kind of like, so then why do I care, right? Why do I care about it? You're not. So
I do. I mean, Filoni puts in Mount Tantus at the end of Bad Batch, and then people forget about it. And I'm like, where are we going with this? I mean, that's some really serious shit for me. You're talking about an entire era of stories that are included just by canonizing that little bit of mountain, just that little bit.
Well, and there, like I say, there's been some, I think it was might have even been the Kiner brothers, right? The Kiner brothers were on a recent podcast, and they were talking about their experiences on Bad Batch season 2, right? And they didn't give away any spoilers necessarily, but they said things like some very unexpected things happen. It takes it in a slightly different direction. We didn't expect this. It almost sounded like it's not altogether that consistent with what we saw in season 1.
Right.
Right. So again, and it's a Filoni creation, right? I mean, Filoni wrote that story. So there may be something here that yet surprises us, but because of the way they've elongated the release schedule, you get to the point where you're like, well, it's been so long ago now. Kind of like, oh, what even happened?
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting a getting a message now. It has to be known to the rest of my subscribers. This stream is brought to you by Drunk 3PO. Please visit 221B Tactical. My opinions are not my own, but that of Drunk 3PO. Please visit the website and buy your own Drunk 3PO plushie. Please buy your Drunk 3PO plushie for an extra $15. He'll sign the butt cheeks for you. Again, these opinions are not my own. Thank you from Drunk 3PO.
It's nightmare fuel. That's nightmare fuel right there.
I don't know. I blanked out for a second. I didn't know what that was.
You're okay. You
What
got
were we
through
talking
it.
about?
Got through it. I was on a rant about. We were on a rant about Mount Tantus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I'm drinking out of my grandfather's whiskey glass, and I'm starting to get tired.
Okay, gotcha. At least you got rid of the olives. Nasty.
Hey, they were actually not good. They were not good at all. What? Sorry, take off. I gotta read this.
Hmm.
Oh.
What happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We've been going for an hour and 2 minutes. I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. Thank you so much for being there for, I mean, God, I haven't had a solo stream in a hot minute, obviously. It's not a solo stream now. But listening to my rant for as long as you did, I really appreciate it. And anybody who's new here today that came over from Drunk 3PO's channel, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much it means. I hit a dead spot when it came to Star Wars content. I'm telling you, dude. Like, no, when I say nobody's watching this shit, I don't mean like, hey, nobody's watching Andor. I'm saying like, hey, I'm making content on this, and like, nobody's watching this shit.
You're not the only one. It's not the first time I've heard this tonight.
Yeah. It's really real. So I appreciate everybody that came by today. Look, being a Star Wars YouTuber right now, you're not exactly in the limelight. So I appreciate everybody dropping by. Have a wonderful Saturday, or what's left of it. And yeah, I don't really have anything else. Thank you guys. Oh God, AD. With a $9.99. That was the last $9 he had in his bank account. I appreciate it.
What an idiot.
You're my boy, AD. I love you. Everybody, have a good night. We will see you again on the next one. Just be kind to your neighbors. Be a good person. And keep spreading the love, okay? We'll see you on the next one, everybody.
Take care, all.